This is the history of the American Whig Party in the United States. The Whig Party is a political party that formed in the United States in opposition to the Democratic Party roughly around 1828 to 1854. The party is a strange party that largely was an opposition party, more so specifically against Andrew Jackson and candidates strongly linked to Andrew Jackson. The Whigs themselves were filled with a unique coalition of various different ideological groups, including slave owners, Federalists, old-school Jeffersonians, and anti-slavery advocates. The name Whig actually is borrowed from the British political party of the same name. The formation of the party is largely attributed to Henry Clay and Daniel Webster, two of the most prominent non-democratic politicians of their time and era, who had a strong following and broad support from those who were scared or antagonistic towards the Jacksonian policies and ideals. Largely, in many ways, it was supported more by the rich and middle-class people who promoted industry and trade rather than the agrarian and land-owning farmers at the time. For roughly 30 years, they were the only political party that opposed Democrats during this period, fielding many competitive candidates, albeit in a desperate attempt to win at the cost of their future political support. Notably that their two presidential candidates who would win were old war generals who both died in office in William Henry Harrison and Zachary Taylor. Henry Clay himself would run for office, failing every time despite a strong base of support, ruining his own dreams of becoming president. Historically speaking, the party formed from the remnants of the Democratic Republicans as the opposition party against the Democrats following Andrew Jackson's win as president. They had garnered a lot of support due to the failures of presidents and presidencies such as Martin Van Buren and James K. Polk that allowed them to win the Oval Office. The main base of support largely being in the North, where the strong, solid base of the support where the party came from, the party's support would actually largely decline for numerous reasons. First and foremost being that the presidential candidates that they would run were specifically slave-owning presidents, as the North would slowly grow to become anti-slavery. The second was once that the party's prominent leaders of the time, namely Henry Clay and Daniel Webster, would leave the political scene, there was no real face of the party, and specifically over the years around 1850 or so, the time being dominated as the issue of slavery and political violence became prominent, the party lost support with no real direction. And with no real specific ideology that was consistent to lean on, the party largely dissolved, as most of the supporters largely began consolidating over to the newly formed Republican Party. Many, if not an overwhelming majority, joined them. The Whigs had a very short and fascinating history, and one that should not be forgotten.